Since he stepped onto the scene, Brad Pitt has long been considered one of the most handsome actors in Hollywood. But he's more than just a pretty face. Pitt is also one of the best performers of his generation, putting in gritty turns that range from World War II soldiers to swanky heisters to gutsy stunt doubles. So how does Brad Pitt fully embody these roles? Well, join us here at ScreenRant. Together, we'll peer behind the scenes to see how this actor prepares. These are the secrets behind Brad Pitt's performances.
I think that's the man. The raw intelligence.
Many performers of stage and screen follow particular schools of acting, like the Meisner or Adler methods to name a few. These styles help them access emotions through sense memory, substituting relationships from their real lives for relationships of their characters. Other actors, like Ian McKellen, memorize the lines and leave much of the prep work to their subconscious, discovering new and exciting reactions, interactions, and bits of business in the moment. For Brad Pitt, he seems to simply stay true to the words on the page and let the performance come as naturally as possible. He seems to be a natural at everything else too. According to one-time co-star Jonah Hill, you know what sucks about Brad? He's super good at acting, he's got a great career, he's a great guy, and he's funnier than me. He can't let me have one thing. Sure, the guy has a ton of things going for him, but we're mainly talking about the biggest thing he has in his favor, his acting career. For some actors, the first rule of performing in front of the camera is you don't talk about performing in front of the camera. In that way, it's kind of like Fight Club. They don't want to ruin the illusion and give away their secrets. They just want to disappear in the roles. Fortunately for us, Pitt has been fairly open about how he makes himself camera ready. Yes, he seems to be naturally made for a life on screen, but a lot of hard work and determination goes into bringing his characters to life. His stratospheric career had humble beginnings, inspired by luminaries from 70s-era Hollywood like Gene Hackman and Hal Ashby. The acting bug first bit Brad as a child. At the local drive-in, young Brad would see these larger-than-life characters on the big outdoor screen. There, it was the actors' performances and the filmmakers' stories that united an audience of people, all from different walks of life. After college in Missouri, Pitt packed up his things and hightailed it to LA. There, he came under the tutelage of acting coach Roy London. London taught a style of realism in performance that was inspired by the teachings of actress and guru Uta Hagen. While he doesn't seem to subscribe to any one specific method, this learning experience formed the foundation on which the rest of his career was built. But it's more than just physical preparation. Pitt recognizes that each of us have certain tics and simple gestures that we often repeat. Pitt tries to imbue his characters with individual traits that are fairly simple. A move of the eyebrow, a scratch of the nose. In Thelma and Louise, Brad's breakthrough, the actor made a point of touching his face before each line. This is a simple move, but one that allows his character to reveal a certain vulnerability. It's this vulnerability that makes him appealing to the film's leads and to the audience watching it. Brad Pitt doesn't shy away from digging deeper and giving his characters an authentic accent as well. Pitt seems to often make his characters Southern, whether it's Lieutenant Aldo Raine in Inglourious Basterds or the New Orleans-style drawl of Benjamin Button. Southern accents seem like second nature for Pitt. That's probably because he originally hails from Shawnee, Oklahoma, and considers the city of Springfield, Missouri to be his hometown. Perhaps these origins in the American heartland have helped make his particular pretty boy so endearing to audiences all over the country. While he's played characters of all stripes and types, Pitt isn't necessarily a chameleon. He doesn't disappear into his roles the same way Christian Bale becomes an entirely new person from film to film, whether he's a billionaire playboy, an overweight criminal, or a malnourished factory worker. Brad Pitt, on the other hand, is always undeniably Brad Pitt. Brad's natural good looks and physical fitness may make him less relatable than many other actors on the A-list. Still, many attentive fans have noted that Pitt seems to eat a lot throughout his filmography. Some viewers attribute this to the fact that having an active appetite may make Pitt seem more relatable to the average eaters of the audience. After all, most normal people can't afford to eat as healthy as the super wealthy, and most people don't have careers that require them to subsist on the restrictive diets that Hollywood careers demand. Brad's on-screen grazing makes him seem more like you and me, but his regular snacking is more of an extension of his real-life personality than any character-related decisions on set. According to some calculations by Redditor Lundgren's Front Kick, anytime a Brad Pitt character eats more than 200 calories worth of food, the audience and the critics notice. Films with a hungrier Brad Pitt tend to score higher at the box office and on Rotten Tomatoes. In fact, more often than not, Brad Pitt can be spotted eating, of all things, a turkey leg. He munches on a turkey drumstick in Troy, in Benjamin Button, and in Legends of the Fall. The success of these movies could be determined by the food, but perhaps it's just that these films also happen to have better scripts, direction, and performances. Maybe it's also the fact that since Pitt tends to produce most of his own movies nowadays, his mid-film snacking just might be keeping him more alert. After all, you need to be attentive to a whole bunch of trials and tribulations as a producer. As a result, Pitt's output might just be better under these more food-friendly circumstances.
Yeah!
Okay.
Let's face it, the guy needs to meal up to support his crazy fitness regimen, and he needs this regimen to stay in tip-top shape for both the silver screen and the red carpet. In Fight Club, the actor devoted 2 hours each day to muscle building, fat shredding cardio in order to sculpt his lean build. He seemed to maintain this schedule for his role as a boxer in Guy Ritchie's Snatch. Just short of 6 feet tall, Pitt got himself down to about 5% body fat within his 155-pound frame. Each day of the week he devoted to a single muscle group. Starting with his chest, he would do push-ups, presses, and pec work. For his second day, the focus would be on his back, performing a mix of rows, pull-ups, and lat pull-downs. The third day would be devoted to shoulders with laterals, presses, and raises. On the fourth day of the week, biceps and triceps would get some much-needed attention, with curls and push-downs being the name of the game. While most people are working for the weekend, Brad's cardio would take precedence, running for 60 minutes to maintain 90% of his maximum heart rate. While Brad probably gets to eat more now that he's allowed to be a little bit bulkier than his earlier roles demanded, his old diet consisted of a mix of brown rice, oats, fresh greens, and chicken and fish proteins. Since the cardio regimen required him to burn himself down to 5 to 6% body fat, he was probably averaging around 2,000 calories a day. Let's fast forward to the present. Brad had to adapt his fitness and dietary needs for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Since Pitt's character in Hollywood, Cliff Booth, is a stunt double himself, Pitt decided to forego relying on a stunt double for Tarantino's film. He worked closely with Tarantino's collaborators, stunt supervisor Zoe Bell, and coordinator Rob Alonzo in order to come up with the perfect prep for the star actor. When compared to Fight Club, Pitt ate more food per day and lifted more to add more weight and strength to his build. This, coupled with training in boxing, Filipino-style stick fighting, and something called yoga for combat, gave Pitt the martial arts backgrounds needed to take on the Cliff Booth role. It's also allowed him to seem like a rough-and-tumble stuntmaster when facing off against Bruce Lee in one of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's standout scenes. The idea for training in Filipino stick fighting came from Rob Alonzo, who figured this was close to a style that Cliff Booth, a World War II veteran, may have learned while overseas. As for yoga for combat, it was mostly a series of moves similar to a yoga flow that required Pitt to transition into different martial arts stances. This gave him a physical vocabulary for the many moves he would need to strike throughout the film's daring and demanding fight choreography. In fact, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's production office had a designated area for Brad Pitt to train and practice his fights with Rob Alonzo at any time of day. According to Zoe Bell, who earned high marks for her works on the fights in Kill Bill, the stunts team was always available to work with Pitt before and after the long and grueling shooting days on set. These accommodations made sure that Brad could perfectly execute each move in the fight scenes and also adjust to any changes with ease. In a piece for Men's Journal, Rob Alonzo commented, "I knew that if Brad learns the principles of martial arts, like timing, spatial awareness, and range, he would be able to flow in the scenes much more naturally, like a real fighter would." And speaking of real fighters, Mike Moe, the actor who played Bruce Lee in the film, has over 20 years of Taekwondo experience. This definitely helped Mike Moe embody Bruce Lee with ease, and his involvement in the training process really upped Brad Pitt's game as well. So what is the secret behind Brad Pitt's preparation for each role? Well, it's basically a combination of the factors that make him the actor we know and love. It's Brad Pitt's natural talent combined with his good genetics, plus all the resources and access that a high-rolling Hollywood lifestyle could afford. It feels like Brad Pitt has done it all. Yet, he's just getting started. After a huge year performing double duty in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Ad Astra, he's still got a big, bright career ahead of him. He's a superstar in an era where true Hollywood icons are hard to come by, at a time when trending names and memeable faces are a dime a dozen. But hey, let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to ScreenRant for more videos like this one. We'll see you soon.